Friday. Welcome back. How are you? Hopefully you are doing well and staying warm. We're not doing too much. It's too cold for Mr. Jerry to be working out in his area. So he has just been in his PJs all day. Again, I'm not used to that. But I was in my PJs until I took a shower. Then I just put on other things with a PJ bottom. So, but so today is weigh-in day. So I'll get that right out of the way. I maintained again 2 weeks in a row. And I told Jerry this morning, this is where I sat there and I go, I want to just stop. Don't want to do it no more because I don't know what else to do. So, except for keep doing what I'm doing. But, sorry, allergies. And so I just tracked everything again today. My niece sent me a beautiful Facebook reel on being a bigger person and how everybody expects you to, you know, be a certain way. And the gal was always, you know, exercising. She was eating more protein. She was dieting, and every morning she gets up and she revisits herself. She can see herself. And then that thought of maybe this is the body she's supposed to have. And then the realization is that the important people in her life not once have asked her to change, not once have pointed out how big she is, or how she doesn't look good in a bathing suit with all the rolls and all the stuff, you know? And it got to me thinking that, you know, it's me who makes me feel like I need to be a certain number or a certain look. And in reality, my grandkids, they don't ever say, why am I this way? Jerry has seen me super thin and he's seen me super big. And not once has his love ever stopped for me. And our kids are the same way. So, God knows when we need something, and I needed that reminder. So today, I just keep going. Just keep going, because I don't know what is going on inside of me that might be healing from all the bad food trauma that I give in my innards. That's why I'm on all these medicines for cholesterol and blood pressure and all that stuff. So today was a bread making day. Yesterday was raisin bread. I was just hungry for raisin bread, and you can go to the store and you can buy the really good, expensive Pepperidge Farm raisin bread. But I thought, you know what, I can also make it, and it can be just as good. I hoped, but it did turn out good. It turned out really, really nice. It just surprised me how well the dough rose yesterday, and when we tried it with just butter on it, it was good. And this morning I had a slice in the toaster, and it's just really good. So it was bread making day also. And so the first one I did, I thought, you know what, I'm going to make it with milk instead of water. Usually I do water, warm water that's like a good warm bath. I always say, you know, when you put your wrist under the faucet, when you would test your baby's formula if it's hot enough back in the day, when we would set it in a pan of water and warm it up that way. They say 110. I pretty much can, by this time of making bread for over a year, once a week, I can pretty much tell. But the raisin bread used butter, it used milk and yeast and sugar, just like what I do for my bread. So the first one I did, the first one I did it how I always make it, except for I warmed up the milk, got it to that temperature, and added all the flour and all the stuff I'm supposed to. I even checked the yeast to make sure that it bloomed or it proofed, you know, where you set it in its water or milk with sugar and let it get foamy. And it did that. But after it kneaded for like 8 to 10 minutes, it was just as stiff as can be. And I took it out, and I knew there was no sense of keeping it in the mixer. So I started kneading it with my hands and everything and pulling it. It was just kind of breaking up, and it was just like something wasn't right in it. I even took it to Jerry, and he even said, "This doesn't feel good." And I said, "No." I even got my hands wet thinking it needed more liquid to it, and kneaded that for a few minutes, and it just didn't do anything. And I was this close just to pitching it. And I thought, nope, I'm going to give it a chance. And so I really worked on it and, you know, pulling it to get the tension in it, to try to smooth it out and stuff. I put it in a separate bowl with some oil and stuff, and I covered it with saran wrap. And then I went and I started the second one. And the second one I did just like normal with the water and all the stuff. I'm telling you, that dough felt so much better than that first one. So when I was letting them both rise for the 90 minutes, I thought, well, if it's not going to be good, it's not going to rise. I wanted to give it a chance. I either get one good loaf or I get 2 good loaves. So after 90 minutes, lo and behold, that thing had more than doubled, and so did the other one. So FedEx is here, Jerry, on this bitter cold day. Just a second, the kitties are right here. I had to holler because he can't hear. But anyways, so I thought, okay, so that one, you know, I took it out of the bowl and I went to push it, and it was still stiff. There was no air bubbles in it. It was not very elastic at all. And so I stretched it and pushed it the best I could. And then I rolled it up and I put it in a greased loaf pan and I covered it. And then the second one I did, oh my goodness, that one felt so good. It was nice and elastic, and it had bubbles galore in it, you know, so I'm pushing to pop all the bubbles out. And I get that all in the loaf pan. So I set them both out for another 45 minutes for the second rise. And y'all, that first one shot up about this much past. And the other one that I do all the time was barely at the top. So what I did was I baked that one first, and I let the other one set for the 32-33 minutes. And while that one was in there baking,
feels like yarn.
That's what I said. It probably is the Tetris yarn. You can open it up and see. So needless to say, they both baked. Mr. Jerry had a slice of that first one that we didn't think was going to be good. And how was it, Jerry?
It was good.
It actually tasted like
normal.
Like normal. So now we have 2 loaves of bread, Don't shut it, babe. And I have to freeze one. And the thing is I don't have a freezer gallon bag, so I'll have to look for one. I have gallon bags that I use for different sewing projects and stuff, so I'll see if I can find one. But so yeah, so the moral of that story that it taught me this was, when you feel like, or when I feel like I am, well, it's kind of like judging a book by its cover. I almost just threw that away. It's kind of like throwing ourselves away on our diets and stuff. And that is hot. She's trying. It's like having kids. Have 2 cats. I just shut my iron off and she's trying to lean over to smell the bag. But it was like telling me, you know, I'm rough looking sometimes. I'm lumpy and bumpy like that bread is. I don't stretch like I used to. But I'm still sweet inside. I'm still good inside, just like that bread is. And the bread isn't the prettiest bread, but it still looks good, and it still looked good on the inside. So it just taught me to, you know, before I get into a hurry to say, well, 2 weeks in a row I haven't lost, and you've been exercising, you've been on that treadmill, you have, you know, been tracking, you've been pushing your fluids, you've been doing, you know, A, B, C, D, E, F all the way, and ready to toss in the towel because you're maintaining. You're not gaining, you're maintaining. So between the bread and between what my niece sent me, it was a good reminder that not to judge things and not to be so critical and jump to the conclusion that this is not going to be any good and I'm not any good. And in reality, I am and the bread is. So I got bread done for 2 weeks. I did have to look it up how to freeze it because we usually don't freeze bread, and it just said to, you know, double, triple wrap it with saran wrap and then put it in a freezer gallon bag and put it in your freezer to freeze it. It's good for 3 months, and then when you're ready to use it, it takes like 3 hours to unthaw it. Just leave it in its original package. I would assume take it out of the baggie, but leave the wrapping on it, and then in 3 hours time your bread should be okay. It also said that you could bake it at 350 for 10 minutes to give it that little crunch factor on the outside. So, but yeah, I just thought it was comical because I really was ready to throw that dough away, and that dough was just telling me, no, don't do that. I'm going to still be good. I'm still going to give you nourishment. So then yesterday, I'm sorry, Miss Jean, that you couldn't hear. When I went on YouTube to watch it, I could hear me, so I just turned the volume up on my phone. So hopefully the short one yesterday with me talking, others could hear, but hopefully you'll hear this one. But my kitties are just being naughty in here. I told him not to close the door, and he didn't, but Mr. Simba hasn't learned how to open it up, and Nala has. So, and she's laying down, and he's just kind of looking around like, what's going on? So yesterday, between the headache and everything, it was one of those headaches that, you know, I woke up with it, and then it got better where I could try the raisin bread. And then after doing stuff, then I went and sat down because it was back, and then it got better, and yada, yada, yada. So I started this mystery mandala crochet along, and the first clue came out Wednesday, and I am using just a second. Simba's going to be panicking. Okay, so I am using a stash, and I am using 4 weight or worsted weight. And this is round 1 through 25, and I got it done last night. And now I have to wait for clue 2 next Wednesday. But it is a round mandala look. I have done Mikey's before. His is kind of like this, but this one you work back like 2 rows down, and then, you know, to join everything back up. But it's just the different spirals and stuff. It's supposed to take after the sun, so I have that in here. It's going to be good size because I'm using an eye hook. And then I got block 3 done on my quilted Afghan that I'm doing, that is based on Anne of Green Gables. So I got this one done, and I only got 1 square crocheted up because I was working on that other one. And so that is going to be like a year-long thing, because there's just no way I'm going to catch up with that, because they're already on block 8 or 9, something like that. So, but then yesterday my scrappy quilt along the blocks 3 and 4, she did the video on it, and then I printed up all that stuff because I knew I wasn't going to get to it. So this afternoon I was in here doing that, and so let me show you. This is block 3. I'm using batiks and a white, and I'm also using out of my stash. It's not perfect, but either am I. And then this is block 4. So block 4, we'll just go backwards a minute if anybody's first time seeing. Block 2, I'll try to remember to leave the link to Jessica, who is running this. Block 2, that was 4, 3, and this is 2, if I said 2 before. And then block 1. Is that block 1? Wait a minute, I might have told you wrong. 3. I think I told you wrong. Okay. So 4 and 3. 4, this is 3, 4. So I did this one today. I showed you block 1. So this is block 3. And then this is block 2, and this is block 1. So I got that done, and then supper tonight, we're going to have breakfast. I think we're going to have scrambled eggs and ham with a slice of toast, probably raisin bread. We usually do 1 slice of toast and then we cut it in half, but we'll see. You know, Mr. Jerry hasn't been eating too much lately. We had goulash last night, and that upset his tummy a little bit. So he didn't have breakfast. Then he had coffee. but then he's had a cookie or two, and he had a slice of bread for lunch. So, and what arrived was my yarn from Hobby Lobby for the Tetris blanket that I'm going to be doing. Smells like smoke. Maybe it's the bag. So I'll take these out. So there is the red, the black, the yellow. I can't tell if it's the yarn or if it's the bag. It definitely can smell smoke. Yeah. There's the blue. There's the pink. Another pink. Another blue, because there was 2 blues in it. Actually, there was 3 blues. There's a purple and a green and a rust. So, hopefully it's not this. But, so that is my Tetris right there, my Tetris blanket for Christmas. So, but other than that, I'm going to let you guys go. I hope that you have a warm, safe weekend. And we have basketball watching to do tonight and tomorrow night, and we're going to do our best to stay as warm as we can in our house. I mean, we got heat and everything, but there's something about that chill outside. There's something about waking up and seeing your thermometer saying -0. And today was kind of warmer than the rest of the weekend, so. But anyways, thanks for stopping by, my friends, and as always, it's good to have you here, and I hope that you have a great weekend. Hope you have a great day in the Lord on Sunday, and until we can meet up again on Monday, stay safe and see you soon.